All right. Here we are, my friends, episode 31, the big 3-1 with my good friend Ask Chopper from askchopper.com. Man, I mean, I've been really excited for this one because, like everybody who realizes who you are, they're always like, oh my God, I used to just stare at those forums for hours and hours and hours trying to find, anything I could to get, an advantage and what have you. And, sometimes, honestly, man, I got to be honest, I would repost some of the stuff that I had found in there, just hoping that maybe I might get through into the private area. But man, I'm super excited to have you on, man. Tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, it's yeah. I mean, before Ask Chopper was existed, I was doing the same thing on the other on the other forums as well. So I don't know where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So personal life stuff. I live in the north of England. I was living in the north of England then as well. I was much younger at the time, going back to I think it was like 99, 2000 when I think it first started. Ask Chopper. Yeah, and it was, but now I'm all grown up. I'm in my 50s. A commercial property landlord, which is kind of weird because that's kind of what I do in the game as well. I've got the shops and the vendors and the so it's,
Gravitate to what you know, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why I do that as a day job and then come and do this for my fun though. But I also love the mining and the crafting type side of it as well and that sort of stuff. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
I've
awesome.
got 3 kids, which keep me busy of various ages, young through to a teenager who's just taking driving lessons now, which is great. So yeah,
That's always like the fun time of you know always get to pick on them like clear the roads, and it's man, it's got to be it's surreal, I guess, when they hit that age. It's like, I remember when you were a baby.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So
So do they play games with you? I mean,
they do, yeah. In fact, I was explaining to my girlfriend the other day that I was with the youngest one. He's into Minecraft at the moment.
Mhm.
So when he's not with me, because we're the separation involved in the relationships in the past. So there's on the days when he's not with me, I'm trying to help build his world up to something he's going to be excited about when he gets back in. So this time he got back and I've done a little farm for him. And he's got some animals and but he's just getting into Minecraft. He's literally just I've started him off in survival mode. You got to do it the proper way, It's not quite as brutal as UO, but it's fairly brutal. You still got to run and get your stuff back and all that sort of thing, which is nice.
Have you
Um,
seen have you seen the Minecraft like maps? I've seen some that are like the Castle of Hyrule, like Legend of Zelda. There's even like Britannia, like the world of UO and stuff. I've seen
no
some of
way.
the
No,
yeah,
I didn't know
it's
that was.
yeah, you can, I'm sure you could find it on YouTube somewhere, but dude, it's just people have made some really amazing stuff in Minecraft, dude. It is wild to me.
Yeah, I struggle on that front. I just tend to find a cave and sort of build
Yeah.
put a door on the front of it. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
about throw a few torches and nothing spawns, and that's about me done.
Yeah,
And then do a bit of exploring then. So,
yeah.
but I've done it with all 3 of my sons. So the oldest I used to do it with him. I still rib him now because I spent all night once building this fake pirate ship thing floating in the water out of wood and all the rest of it and cobwebs for sails and all this on it and he came on the next day with me and he's just like that with a flint and steel and the whole thing just bursts into flames.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. Dude, it is fun, like building stuff like that. For a long time, we had a Valheim server. It's kind of the same, you know what I mean? Valheim, it's like Vikings, survival game, and you build a base and whatnot. It's not as in depth as Minecraft, but it was fun because we had a lot of people playing it together, and you know, kind of the same thing where you said when your son goes away and then he comes back and he sees like something new, he's very excited. And it was kind of the same for me. I'd log off and then I'd log back on, and somebody will have built something else and like, oh look, well I added a blacksmith over here, and it's like, hell yeah. Or even something as like, well, I organized, remember our resource chest, it was terrible. Well, I organized that and I put these signs up, and it's like, this is really cool. You know, it was just always fun doing that, and you know, that together with other people. Yeah, so I'm sure Minecraft is kind of similar thing. I've never really played that with you know, a group of people, but you know, I know enough about Minecraft to expect that probably
It's quite good because the little one he's only really used to the Xbox controls. He struggles with the WASD and the mouse and all that at the moment. But he can handle it on the Xbox. But then his slightly older brother of a few years can jump on his PC in the other room and get on the same world, and while I'm sort of split screening with him on the Xbox, and it's nice. Yeah, you can all kind of jump on together. And my older son has been coming in and sort of adding stuff to the world as well. So it's good. That whole thing of it's what you know, gaming together is all about, which is why UO is so great, and the various other sort of, you know, multiplayer games that we've all come to love. Playing games by yourself is great, and you can get lost and you just enjoy yourself. But doing it with other people is just so much better.
Yeah, you know, I will play multiple games, but you know, I say it all the time. The what keeps me playing it, or you know, even beyond if it's a good game or not, is definitely if I have a group of people that I know that I'm logging into, and you know, somebody's going to be on, and I'm just chatting with them, and you know, talking about life, playing the game, you know, talking about leveling up in the game or whatever it is. But it's that just, you know, you're sharing something in common, and all that. That is, whether people like to admit it or not, I think that is really what makes MMORPGs or just multiplayer games like so much fun, right? The game itself, yeah, it's cool. Ultima Online, yeah, it's cool. Outlands, yeah, it's pretty cool. But I for me especially, it's always been about like, I want to have a group of people to play with, and that's what's going to make it fun. So
That's funny as well, because that kind of while I've been reminiscing about UO and after coming back in and joining Outlands and all that sort of thing, and Hybrid before that, but then into Outlands, because I had a huge gap away from it. It was only when Mustache sort of interviewed me that he kind of dragged me back in, you know, like the Godfather managed to get out and they pull me back in, sort of thing. But I've always thought about it. I've always wondered about it, and even a number of years back, I'd logged into my account just to see what was going on and stuff. But yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, speaking of Mustache, I actually got to have lunch with him, like I think a year ago or so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was it was great. You know, it was me, him, his wife, and my girlfriend, and we had some tacos, and you know, me and him talked about UO and just, you know, and content and stuff, and you know, the girls talked about whatever they talked about, you know, and it was just a really good time, a great conversation, man, and you know, and then he came on that it was like a couple months later. I did a the roast of Pwnstarr for my birthday stream, right? And so we had like 12 different people, content creators, streamers, or just whoever, and they all got on. And have you ever seen a roast? Like where they yeah, and so it was that same format, right? So like I watched like 3 or 4 roasts to kind of get a format, right? And so we had somebody host it and like bring everybody on and then make fun of them as they came on, and then, you know, it was just, dude, it was awesome. And Mustache, as you could definitely guess, did extremely well, and I was just so happy that he was there. He had the Cobra Kai background behind him and everything, and you know, one of the big things was he was like, you know, I had lunch with this guy, and you know, he hopped out of his little car, and I couldn't find him because there was a bush in the way because he's so short, you know, and he's just he just he's good, man. I love him to death, man.
Is that an American tradition, the roasts?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I know it was a real big thing there in like you know, early 2000s and 2010ish, and then I don't really see as many of them anymore, but they're definitely funny, man. We
Yeah.
it's fun locker room talk, make fun of each other, you know what I mean? It's just it's pretty cool. What got you into like gaming specifically?
Mm.
And then like what
Uh,
are some of the early games that maybe you played growing up or whenever you started playing games?
the first thing I got, I think, before any sort of microcomputer as they were banging on about back then, was because all 8-bit stuff. Was a Philips video pack. I don't know if they even existed in the US. If they were probably called something else. That's usually the way. So it was when everyone else got an Atari, and my parents were like, "Ta-da! We got you an Atari!" And it's not. It's a Philips video pack. It was like they had some good games on it, but
Sure.
they were so brutal. It was like if you just you could be a pixel away from something and consider it's hit you, and it was just
Yeah.
yeah. It was. There's so many games that I enjoyed playing on it, but most of them I never got close to completing or doing anything on because it was just
Yeah.
they were brutal those games back then. They really were.
I I can remember, a lot of so I started on NES, and I can remember some of the older games like Ghouls and Goblins and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they were they were very difficult, and it was pretty unforgiving, like you're saying. You got 3 lives, and if you die, like okay, you're starting back over at the beginning, and now it's you die, and you start like 5 steps away from where you died, so
Oh, your
they
vision goes blurry, and if you hide, you're okay. You
yeah,
come
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. That's right. And like Call of Duty, exactly. Like, or your shield goes away, and it's little red lines around everywhere, and just hide for 10 seconds, like Borderlands, and then you're back to
They've got enough late now. They really have compared to what it was like.
yeah.
And after that, I moved on to it was a BBC Model B. It was called. So it's the old 8-bit sort of when the Spectrum was out and all that sort of thing. Sinclair's ZX Spectrums and everyone else was mucking about with that. So you could kind of do a bit of basic coding on it, literally in a language called Basic, and then. But that just involved sort of getting. I didn't know Basic. I'd basically get the BBC Micro magazine from the newsagents and open it up, and there'd be 12 pages of code, and he'd just sit there typing it all in,
Yeah.
so you could get a free game.
Prep it out.
Yeah, and they never worked. You always screwed a few syntax errors and all the rest of it throughout. And
By the time you debug it and figure out where the mess up is, it's like, all right, time to go to bed.
yeah, and it's like I didn't even know how to save it to tape back then as well. So it was I'd kind of build it and then it'd just all go the moment I turned everything off. It's tape loading stuff with the screeching and the noises and yeah, it was a bit hit and miss back then on those things, but they had some great games on it. They had Doctor Who in the Mines of Terror, which was fantastic. BBC Model B was in all the schools as well, so you could kind of try and convince your parents to buy it because it's educational. It's schools have them; it's the same one, and they were pricey as well. Easily the price of a full blown PC now. When you sort of factor back with inflation, there's 1980s and I think about £400 or something like that, £400.
Yeah,
and that was when the pound dollar thing was probably 1.8 to 1 or whatever. So it's a lot of money. So the games on that I enjoyed playing was, like I said, the Doctor Who: The Mines of Terror one, which actually came with a ROM chip that you'd stuck in it as well to get it going. That was a huge platform, and that was really good. But the main one, and I used to actually play it with my dad, which is going back to me playing with the kids now, was a game called Elite, which I mentioned in Mustaches as well, and it's still one of the defining games of a lot of people in my generation. I think a lot of us kind of think back to those 8-bit days and we're marveled at the fact that this sort of game with 8 different galaxies, it was all procedurally generated. Sort of you could jump from one place to another in your spaceship, and it was vector line graphics.
Okay.
So it's a black background, white graphics, and your stars fly past you as you're flying around. But you could You could be a pirate. You could go out hunting and killing things. You could be a trader and just kind of make money by trading stuff back into. Again, it was solo. There's no
Yep.
multiplayer sort of description. And there were missions in the game as well that popped in at certain points of you. Because you started off as mostly harmless with a nod to Douglas Adams, and you work way up to everything from competent to dangerous to deadly to elite in your combat ranking. So as you went,
Yeah.
and very few, and there's actually a prize for the first person to get to be elite. These two guys, David Braben and Ian Bell, wrote this, and they were on the news and everything because it was just such a mind-blowing game compared to all the little 2D platformers that were going around. Sort of actual sitting in your cockpit, looking out, flying, doing whatever you want to do.
That's cool.
Where you want to go. It's just it was, and me and my dad loved doing that. And still got fond memories of playing that with him. That was that was really good. And they re-released that, so they had Elite Frontier and then Elite. I forgot the name of the other one. There's another Frontier Plus or Frontier something else. It'll come back to me, but that was really buggy. But the third one was all messed up. But then everyone on all they weren't even forums. They were but there were the fan groups and everything. Alt.fan. Going back to old school ways of kind of getting groups together. That they were always rumored this new version had come out. This all sort of updated, fancy, all singing, all dancing. And then finally, probably going back 9-10 years now, I'm guessing, Elite Dangerous came out, which is the new updated. Do it in VR goggles.
I didn't realize that it's been around that long, honestly. Elite Dangerous, I did. It just
the original Elite was but Elite Dangerous, she must be about 10 years now.
Yeah, I didn't realize it's got that long of a history, nonetheless. Like it went back to I thought Elite Frontier, Elite Dangerous. Those are
Frontier,
like
and then Frontier First Encounters. That was the one that came after. That was the buggy piece of. Because you couldn't even update games online. Then they couldn't go. Oh, we'll release a patch. It's like no, everyone's got a disc.
Yeah, you've got it's done. Like but there was a game that sent out. What was it? Was it Crash TV? I think it was called Crash TV or something. But anyways, it was like this top-down game where you're shooting your guns and like killing monsters. I'm pretty sure it was called Crash TV or something. But anyways, there was this room that was called a pleasure room, and it's exactly what you're thinking, right? But it was like it's like, if you keep this up, then you'll make it to my pleasure room, and that's like the main boss or whatever. But the thing is there wasn't actually that room, right? And so you just kept going and going and going and going. It never ended. And like people had figured out how to play this game, like gamers do. And they were like, I've been doing this forever. What's going on? And they were like, there's not really a pleasure room. And so they ended up adding a room and sending out copies to people with an update on. That was like the first like update for a game where they sent out physical copies of something. And it's funny that they did that, because it was either Nintendo or Super Nintendo, or it was kind of around that era. I'm pretty sure it was called Crash. I'm gonna end up getting off here and being like, oh, actually it was this. But anyways, it was pretty cool. And to your point of playing with your father and you playing with your kids, man, I still to this day play with my father. Play games. I play World of Warcraft with him, and he's the one who got me started playing UO and Diablo and all those games. And I'd say there's not a at least every couple days, where we're talking about, some kind of game or whatever. And dude, I mean, as well as I do, and your kids are going to remember that for the rest of their lives, playing, the video games with their father. And I can only hope that, when I have kids, that they're at least slightly interested in games, that way we can play it. Hopefully I don't have to force it on them. Like, some parents are like, no, you're going to play soccer. You know what I mean? Or, but
you're going to stay inside and sit in front of the computer.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
No, the ball down. Get back in here. So.
You are not going to the gym. You are coming in here and you are playing Ultima. No, it's a really cool thing, man. And I think you can attest to this, but I think that my relationship with my father is so much better because we've shared that bond of playing games together, and just have that mutual understanding, that mutual thing there. But so where did the name Chopper come from?
Chopper came from a 2000 AD character. 2000 AD is a comic in England. The most commonly known sort of character from it is Judge Dredd. So writers include people like Alan Moore, people like that. So it's like, it's where Alan Moore kind of, well, it wasn't probably where he's cut his teeth. I'm sure he's been writing for a long time before he wrote for 2000 AD, but he's write a heck of a lot of stuff for them, and the spin-off Scream comic and various other things. And then you got in this there's a few series of episodes. There's a few sort of sequences in Just Dread where there's a bunch of an ongoing story. And this character called Chopper started off as a graffiti artist. Chopper King Scrawler, who was doing all of the tower blocks in Mega City, and then eventually came back again as another character. As they had this surf competition, but it was all like rocket surfboards that were flying around, and the whole city was set up like some sort of an obby, they'd call it now, and things like Roblox, where you're flying along and things are trying to squash you and splat you, and as you're going through, and very few actually made it through. And then Chopper came back again many years beyond. And it might have even come back since, but I don't read 2000 AD as much as I still read it now and again, but I don't read it as much as I used to. So,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
That's where it came from, and it just kind of stuck.
So did you use that as your original Ultima Online character, or?
I did. However, most of the time it was hard to get a character called Chopper when you come into a game a bit late, because if it's a selection of names, then they're gone usually. So
yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm not sure, but I think the original didn't mind replicating names. I don't think you can do it in Outlands now, but I'm pretty sure you could have similar names or very similar names back then, if not the same.
I don't know. I know you can't on Outlands.
I'm not quite sure now.
Yeah, I know you can't even name a pet the same like on Outlands.
Probably because we used to have an exploit for that.
Yeah. Of course. So when did you start playing Ultima, like original, retail Ultima?
I don't remember my first sort of jaunt into it, to be honest. It was something I was probably, because I was dipping around in all sorts of different games back in the time. But that I remember at the point where I met up with, I went into it a few times, did a bit of mining, did whatever else. It was only at the point where I kind of met other people, and then we kind of shared ICQ numbers, and then we were arranging to come on at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what made a huge difference, and it was that's what pulled me back in. So I don't remember when I kind of first started, but I remember dipping into it.
Yeah.
But I do remember sort of spending most of my time around Minnock. Never quite sure how to pronounce that.
I always said Minnock, but I think most people call it Minnock because you mine there. But I always said Minnock. I don't know. Yeah.
And so I remember kind of just mining a lot, selling it to people at the bank. And then I'd have a few regular buyers I'd have the ICQ numbers for, and I'd just kind of save it up for them. And that's how I kind of made some money, and eventually got a little house somewhere, I think, going back. But the house was sort of southeast of Vespa, somewhere in the swamps. It was like, it's a gross place to live. There's like lizard men all over the place. It was just like, if you're trying to get back to your house and you need to get back because you hardly had anything on you, you're nearly dead, and it's like, good luck.
Yeah, but you just wanted a house, you know what I mean? It's like, like just to have one.
There were a few other people I played with, and we kind of shared a house at one point, and then this is before you could just kind of steal a key and steal a house. It was after that.
Do you remember what server you played on?
Europa.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would make sense. Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't know anything about ping time, stuff like that. It's just, it said Europa, and I thought, Europe. Yeah. A Great Lakes didn't mean anything to me, and neither did most of the other names. So, but I just saw Europa and just clicked the button.
I played on Atlantic because my dad played there, and he was like, "All right, now click Atlantic," and it was like, "Okay, well, this is where I'm at." So,
Yeah.
so you were mostly a miner and a crafter. I
Well,
mean,
when
or
I was kind of playing and dipping in and out, and then I started doing more combat stuff, but not mega PvP, but just a bit of more counter PvP, because I saw a lot of miners get killed and tried to step in and help and that sort of thing.
yeah,
But I was never at the stage where I had this perfect template in mind that, the 7GM whatevers, and just purely focused on PvP. And it's always the case of, as you focus on one skill, another would go down, and you just kind of,
yeah,
it was a hodgepodge of it was a mess. My original characters, they all were. Absolutely no proper specialization whatsoever.
yeah,
And probably a load of camping, even though camping did bugger all back then. So yeah, it was. But I think what really got me into UO was, aside from when I was with those groups of people I used to play with, and then I did a bit of, I learned that they found ways to do things that seemed to be speeding things up.
yeah,
And that made me think, oh, where have they found that out from? And I need to be doing more of this, because this is taking a lot of this grind out of the game, which is the painful bit.
yeah,
From the developer's point of view, they don't want people skipping through the grind, because if you get too close to that end game sort of level, and then your kind of interest wanes and they're off.
yeah,
And pretty much, if you look at pretty much any MMO out there, going EverQuest beyond, all the way through, the actual lifetime of a player, I'd guess even though I think Elite suffered from this as well, it's 2 to 2.5 years. I've seen to notice as I've gone through various games, and to keep players for longer than that, you've got to be so active and so on top of dropping new changes in, keeping their interest, really messing with the core game to a point where you don't break it,
yeah,
and keep your economy well and all that. Because if any of those things go wrong, you start losing people quickly. Their interest moves on,
and each one affects the other.
Yeah, it really does. And I don't know how Outlands have balanced it so well. They really have. Their dev team just pumps stuff out. It's incredible. And they still seem to keep that economy just about right.
It is very interesting, and what you're saying is exactly right. Like, I told you a few minutes ago that I play World of Warcraft with my father, right? And so what happens for me is I get real gung-ho and excited. I log in and I play what I consider a pretty hardcore for about 3 months. And then, I did the raid, did a couple mythic dungeons, or quite a few mythic dungeons. And then I'm just like, all right, I'm done. And then it's like, the game doesn't exist to me at all until, a couple months later. And then I come back and what have you. Outlands, for whatever reason, it's probably because I have like a mini game in it of this right here. I mean, like I have other stuff that keeps me involved, but also the fact that literally every single month, 2 months, there's something new on Outlands, right? And it's like, oh, okay, well, let's go mess around with this. Let's go tinker with this or whatever. And then, like what you said, there's so many of these gold sinks and stuff that keep the economy in check to where it's not,
They actually have a gold.
Yeah, it's not like retail where they've created, well, let's do platinum now, and that equals 100 million gold, or I don't know what it is, but like they've created a new currency, and it's
Valor's the old one, and it's like me when I logged back in. I had foolishly, I should have known better, especially with my background, but I had a load of ranger armor, all this other stuff. I turned it to gold because I was thinking of carrying on playing and needed the gold. And then after a while, I was just like, oh, never mind, I'll just bank all that and log out. Came back, and this fortune in gold house with buttons. You could barely buy a bloody sword with it or something. It's just pointless. So.
Yeah. What do you have any memorable stories? Like, I mean, it could be from during your ass chopper days, or maybe just like your super newbie days. Something that, because retail, I love it, man, for the fact that it is what really paved the way for.
Oh, yeah, I'm not knocking it. No, it's
well, I am in certain degrees, but back in the day, I'm not. But
No. Back in the day, they were on
yeah,
top of it. There were quite a few releases coming out. Nowadays, they've got a limited team.
yeah,
Updates are infrequent. They did the best. They've tried this new thing where so it's not that they're not trying. They are,
yeah, yeah.
and I think EA's just been taken over. So maybe they'll find an injection of funds. Maybe something will happen there. Maybe not.
Yeah, well, and somebody just bought. I think it's EA.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly, I think it's Donald Trump's son. I could be off there, but I somebody bought. So I don't know. Anyways, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, dude, it's changed hands so much, and what I really think it is in any profession you have people that are very passionate about their profession, but you also have people inevitably that are just getting a paycheck, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just the way it is. And the way it seems is that retail, they're just getting a paycheck, and then
I think some of them are, some of them aren't. I mean,
sure,
I sort of announced who I was on one of the, it was the Discord or something, and the next thing I know, they put a little present in my thing of everything it was a 25-year anniversary that was around that time, and they kind of popped the thing in my character. I was just like, oh, that's really nice. That's so maybe that's the liaison side of it, the ones who are the customer facing bits, and maybe the management's less passionate, and then your coders are just doing the damn best with God knows what they were given. The number of teams that must have worked on that over the years,
yeah.
good what sort of shape it was in for them, different, because it went from OSI to Electronic Arts to whatever, and those teams of code must have.
And any idea that you have, you know what I mean? You got to go, well, hello, corporate, can we do this? Whereas, some of these other servers, it's more of like, hey, we're going to do this. And then it's done in an hour,
They used to bounce ideas off themselves. They could run out and do it.
Yeah.
And they got a team that helps. And it's probably like it was in the old days, I would imagine, when Lord Britannia himself was up there calling the shots.
So anyway, sorry, new player story. I apologize.
Yeah,
we went off on a
stories from the olden days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think I had most fun because it was reminded me before when you were talking about people playing as a group, and that's what pulled you in. And it's so on Europa, during the whole running of Ask Chopper and that sort of thing, because that kind of burnt me out a bit, because you spend all your time testing bugs and with throwaway accounts, and you're never really logging in as yourself, and you're concerned about logging in as yourself if you just try to bug out another one because your IP's this and that's that, and it's so it was all a bit iffy. All the bug testers and people, I think, were all super cautious about getting caught.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they were watching us. They probably weren't really, but we were convinced they were.
Yeah. Of course.
Kept it exciting, I suppose. But in my downtime, I signed up and just joined up with this a role playing group on there, and it was the guardsmen's militia on Europa. So they were in U. They had a tower and all this other stuff, and it was all, you kind of turned up as a trainee, and you had to go out and chop wood to build strength, and they'd come back and you bring the wood back, and it was pure, honest to God, brilliant roleplay. It was great.
Yeah.
There was no magic apart from these special, I can't remember, the monks or whatever they were, the ones that were the and eventually ended up being a besieger, which is this guy that wore, instead of being a ranger or whatever, or just some noob in your basic armor and stuff, because you had your foot soldiers and you had the rangers, and then they had the and when you do little patrols, and regular players would come around the path and you go, stop, pay the toll, and some of them would kind of take you on and have a little bit of banter, and some of them just try and kill you or take their sword, something like that, but you blank it off in the fact they weren't talking sense and all the rest of it. But it was fantastic because I ended up sort of becoming this besieger, and it was like you kind of had mostly plate armor. You could throw explosion potions as grenades. There's no magic as such, but and we'd have wars all the time with the orcs, the role-playing orcs, who were in the same area, back in their fort. So we do little patrols past their fort. They kind of know we're coming because someone ICQ told them, probably sent a pigeon, as they say.
Yeah.
And you know, it was just great fun all the time. And no matter when you logged on, there was always someone out there chopping wood or having to do this, and you could have a bit of banter and a chat with them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there was some of my favorite times in UO actually.
Did that end up becoming the U?
So fresh and new then, and so great.
Did that end up becoming the U militia that we know today?
I don't know. I think the Gals militia still carried on. They've got a website that's still live.
Yeah.
And my old character Paul Brock is still on there.
It's just the U militia on Outlands. It was, they had like a 25th birthday or something. You know what I mean? It was like a very old guild, and I remember them sending me a flyer over it and everything. And unfortunately, I was out of town, so I didn't get to go and like hang out or whatever. But they have a very long like standing thing, and it when you said that, you know, the Guardsmen militia was based out of you, it made me kind of like question. I wonder if it, because they used to be a very big role-playing guild. So
I imagine it was a good place to role-play you because it was near the Orc Fort and all that sort of thing. So it's quite possible there were various similar groups doing the same sort of thing. Maybe in communication with each other. I wasn't aware because I was never running the show. I was just kind of one of the grunts.
Yeah, I hear you. But
but there's a guy. Sorry, go on.
I will say that like role playing in UO, you know, when you got a good group of people that have bought into it, you know, and just are having a great time, you know, and I think of the orcs, you know, you know, I've got a character in there, and you know, those events. Honestly, my favorite videos that I've done are videos based off of events with the orcs, and
they're the best.
They're great to play with. Yeah,
and so respectful and play the role. So if you drop shinies down, they'll leave you alone and go kill everyone else that hasn't got a clue what they're doing.
Yep.
You know, it's so good.
You know, when I play my thief, there's the path on Outlands, Pathfinders. They'll role play with me and things like that. But I've noticed, I finally figured it out. So I've been red lately, and I was like, these fuckers don't role play with me anymore. And that's because I'm red. It's just like instant attack, you know.
That's it. Fair game.
Yeah,
you only get one chance to role play with red, and that's when you first meet. If you go hail, then you know it's like 2 spells in the face, and someone else is it's like you shoot first, ask later. So
that's it, man. That's it. So all right, the real juice, man. AskChopper.com. I mean, you know, like I said at the beginning, I used to just comb that. We would, man, I think we spent more time, you know, trying to replicate stuff and you know, and just whatever we could do. I think I searched dupe gold Ultima Online at least 1 million times. You know, if cookies were as prevalent as back then as they are today, all the like browser ads would be like buy gold, or you know what I mean. It would have been filled with it. But I mean, how did it start? What gave you the idea? You know, what led? Give us the story.
Well, I submitted a bug. I started going to all these, like I said. Saw some people I was playing with and figured out they knew some shortcuts, asked them where they got them from. They directed me to I think it was UO Shack and some other sites. Back at the time, there's UO Shack, UOprostitute.net, various other ones. And I had a one working bug myself, which was if you, as a tinker, placed a chest on the floor facing a certain direction, it was either north, south, or east, west. It was one or the other, and then trapped it, and then picked it up and dropped it down somewhere, you wouldn't get the kill for it. So I put that up on. There's probably loads of other people that knew it as well, but I put that up for a thing on UO Shack and got myself a password there into the private forum. It wasn't a section; it was just literally another forum that you could put your password and you're in. Gave you access to it. And there was all sorts of little bugs going on in there, and more sort of deep discussion about things. So that intrigued me. there's this kind of behind the scenes stuff being shared, things going on, and then that got shut down. You're a prostitute.net got shut down as well, but I think they were trying to monetize something, or there's something else going on there, I think, or they just got a threatening letter and thought that's it. But there used to be a forum split, because for those that don't know websites we used to work back then, it was that are new to you now and watching this, you'd go on the actual website, and within the website there's a forum, often hosted on a forum.
Yeah.
Hosting companies' own stuff, because they kind of did all the stuff behind the backgrounds for you, behind the scenes for you. And in that forum, you would be a moderator, you'd be an admin, you'd do all that sort of thing, and you control the discussion. And the great thing about forums compared to Discord is that you could jump back on in 2 days and see where it was up to. Whereas on Discord, it's all gone.
Yeah.
There's certain themes and things you can pick up, and you can just search on it, and you could find that forum post, all the discussion about it. It's like it's kind of Reddit for those that.
Yeah, well, it was cool too, because like people, I mean, yeah, sometimes you'd have like forum posts of like one-liners, but a lot of it was definitely well thought out paragraphs. I mean, it was, and you'd quote what somebody said. I think there was a lot more thought versus it just being like a Yahoo chat room like Discord is now today, which it's great in its own way. Don't get me wrong, but I do kind of miss the forum days. Maybe it's just the sheer amount of people too. I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of people then, but there'd be focused, because there's so many different forums. Everything from the PvP forum, like in the Discord, you're on little bits and things to focus on, but your main discussions would all be they'd be recurring, let's say. So so that everyone that came back would just post on it, and it stops people coming and asking the same damn question all the time as well, because they're right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on yourprostitute.net there was this guy had his own sort of little forum called Kthak, K-T-H-A-K or something similar, I think, from memory. But it was called Ask Kthak, and it was basically a place you would go in and ask any question about UO, even though it was on an exploit site, and fairly safely ask that question and get it answered by people who just wanted to see you do well, and not get flamed and whatever else.
Yeah.
And then when yourprostitute.net went down, and then the only thing I left was things like Stratix and Marquee Dragon and things, which is so heavily moderated. I mean, you couldn't get away with anything on there.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, we've got to have something. So I just did it myself, and I thought, well, I'm Chopper, and call it Ask Chopper, like that used to have his thing. And I tried to keep it at first it was just an easy board, if you remember, easy board.
Yeah.
And all it was just a website that's kind of linked to that easy board. And it kind of, you could come on, you could find exploits, but you could also be safe places to kind of come and ask questions. And we kept the rants and flames in its own little thing, in its own forum. If anything got too much like that, we'd just move it to that forum. If any threads got too bad, we'd just kick it down there, and they could just shout at each other down there then, and not bother the rest of them. And just it started like that, really, and then more people joined in. And thinking back to people, we got everyone from Luth. That's not. I don't think it's Luthius. I'm not double checked, but I'm pretty sure it's not Luth. And Jokester and Lord of the Llamas and Bendover and various other. It's too many to mention that kind of help run it. And because I was not a technical person, when I did the first website, it was all frames down one side and whatever else. It looked pretty bloody awful, to be honest.
It was a lot more difficult back then too, right? Because it was all JavaScript, right? Was that right? I mean, and now you have stuff like Wix. Websites are simple. You just literally drag images where you want them. You got Canva to create images, and Canva has 1,000 templates that you can. It's image creation, website creating, and I'm not. It's a lot easier now versus,
Yeah, I had a bit of a background because I had an IT degree. I did that at university, so So I can kind of tinker a bit, but I was certainly no expert in that stuff. The IT degrees back then were so general in the late 90s that, early 90s when I did my actual degree. You did everything database design to, I mean, I think we actually touched on the World Wide Web, and we were using Netscape and various other things to look at that. So it was the dawn of it all, really. It was so general, of course. You weren't. I couldn't quite just instantly do a website or anything like you can nowadays when you're doing ICT or whatever you call it now. So yeah, it was. So that was the kind of birth of it all. But then all these other people, like the ones I've just mentioned, Luke, Jokester, Bendover, and Lord Lammers, they kind of brought their own skills to it. Luke was very privacy focused, and so was I, because that's how the internet was back then. You had a name that you went by. You didn't put any personal details out there. It's the exact opposite of the internet now, which seems to be all about pushing as much of yourself out as you can.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It was I think it was kind of jumped from CB radio stuff to that. So everyone kind of had handles. They had nicknames. They kind of moved it. They kept anonymity. And but now they're like, if you're anonymous, you're doing something wrong, which is a bit unfair, really. It was just so. I mean, in fairness, we were doing something wrong. We're an exploit site, so we were extra anonymous. But it's
yeah. But I heard you had like 30,000 or something members on those forums at one point. Is that about right? Or?
If you go on the Wayback Machine, at some point, I think it's 30,000 or 50 or 60,000. There's some silly number of men, but people had to actually join the site to view the posts in the public forum. So a lot of people wanted to get in the public forum. So they could search what's going on and find out information and see what new exploits might be being talked about. Or just join in the fun, because it was a fun place to hang out. It was moderated with a very light hand, which is incredible when it's tens of thousands or thousands of exploiters all meeting together. Don't tend to be the nicest people, some of them, but really most of it was just teenage kids and kids that were just messing about and trying to get the upper hand, and just thought it was all fun and games and giggles to take someone's house and twin.
It was though. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny, right? Because I think about that stuff, and like, listen, me and Beltane, he's the guy I played UO with. Like, he's been my best friend since 4th grade, right? And we've been playing UO. I mean, we even would grief the shit out of people all the time, and we would say UOG, right? And that means Ultima Online Griefers. And this honestly, this is bad, but it transpired into real life as we grew up. If like we wanted to be destructive and like, rip a street sign down or something, we'd be like UOG, and we'd rip it down. It was, growing up, stupid teenagers, right? Well, anyways, like we like thought in our heads that if we griefed somebody to the point of them logging off or quitting, saying they're going to quit the game, like we felt like we were victorious. We won. like now, man, if I steal something of too much value, I'm like, hey man, don't carry this skill scroll tome around in your bag. You can have it back. It's not blessed, like I would feel bad. Back then I could have robbed a house and just, I mean, shoot, dude, we joined, I can't tell you how many role-playing guilds and like role-played for months on end to where we would gain access to chests and then loot them dry. And then when we were questioned about it, we'd be like, I don't know, but I wouldn't do that today, man. There is no way in hell. It was the Wild West of the internet, like it was, nothing mattered. There wasn't really right or wrong. I mean, there was.
He created an avatar and he called it, and you do what you do with that avatar. It doesn't have to be you, really. It's your avatar. It's what you put out there.
Yeah. I mean, at least that's what we told ourselves. And so I mean, we would look at that website and constantly look at stuff like, okay, how do we break into houses? How do we make a house go IDOC instantly? I heard that was one, but no one ever found that to my knowledge. But
I think that was actually it was rumored, and we could never do it through because we didn't. We just pulled levers that were in the game. We didn't mess with sort of tinkering in between the client and the server. That apparently was done. I think Moustache interviewed someone just a couple of interviews after me, and it was all client side tinkering that they managed to, I don't know, inject something or whatever they do, and just cause it to iDoc. I remember at the time there was a lot of panic, and I think even EA contacted me at the time trying to say, "Is this real? Is this thing?" And I was like, "Well, I tried. I can't bloody do it." So, and no one ever sent me an email saying about it, and none of the community seemed to know anything about it because we weren't. Most of the ones there, they didn't do things like that. It wasn't about, they weren't coders and getting into the packets going back into and fiddling with those. It was more just, okay, they've just improved this new skill. They've probably broken 12 things as they've done that. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we can do to get skill quicker in different ways with what they've just screwed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did like UO ever reach out to you? I guess it was Sierra at the time, or was it OSI? Or am I thinking of EverQuest was OSI?
I think we've always called it OSI, and I think we still do to an extent. But I think that all ended when Garrett left. Then it was just EA, really, I suppose, wasn't it? Or did they buy Origin Systems, or did Origin Systems move on after that? I'm not quite sure how it all worked.
OSI, now Broadsword, which is owned by EA, and then man, hey, who wants it? $5 right here. You know what I mean? It's like it's changed hands 100 times.
Yeah, like I said, they did reach out about the iDoc bug because I think they were panicking about it, and then they must have seen some things, just people lose castles, houses, all sorts. As this guy that Moustache interview said he was doing it, but I just generally didn't have a clue. I tried everything. I got World Forge out and all these other things to try and alter land underneath houses so you could tinker with it, go underneath it and do something. It was all server-side control, most of that stuff. But obviously, this guy found a way of.
Sure. But did Ultima, did whoever owned UO at the time, did they ever reach out to you and be like, hey, like, stop, like...
Oh, sorry, yeah. I got me Ass Chopper folder here from back in the day. I've got a reply. So attention of Jacob J. Schatz, Senior Legal Counsel, www.chopper.com. Jacob, I sent you a copy of this in the mail today. Very truly yours. And then it's I shouldn't have held that up really. That was my ex-wife's first name because that's who I registered the site under. It was her. Again, it's about anonymity. I didn't want to, my account was in my name, so I didn't want to get that banned. And that was the reply back to them. So after we got a stop, cease and desist off. Now he's now head of legal. He must have been a junior then, but he's now head of legal at EA. So he's done all right.
I would have kept that too. I would have been like, this is a badge of honor. I
can't find the actual letter they sent me. That's so annoying. I might try and get in touch with him, see if he can dig out an old copy and send it to me.
That's great.
I really can't find the original, but so I've got the response I sent to him, then which is sent by fax because it was that sort of time, as well as the copy in the mail.
Yeah. So,
but they said to stop. They just stop cease and desist for using the UO logo, various other things. So they had to be quite specific about why they were making us doing a stop cease and desist because they couldn't, I suppose, prove any damages at that point or anything like that. So
it wasn't specifically the fact that you were showing exploits. It was that you were using the UO image and stuff like.
I think they wanted to shut us down because we had the exploits, but
okay, right.
But because there's UO sprites on the thing, and they weren't because Ask Chopper Dragon was done for us. It was one of the members of the forums that did that for us, which is brilliant. And the UO logos were actually from UO stats and things like that, which you put a link to it and it pops up on your website.
Yeah,
it was their stuff. So I had to email these other ones with the logo saying, "I've just had this. Can you change this so it's not using the actual logo?" Please.
Did you have any contact with like UO Prostitute and UO whatever the other one was? Like, did you ever talk to them?
Oh, yeah, I did with the admin of UO Shack. I think I did originally.
UO Shack, yeah.
For a bit.
Was that what it was? They got a cease and desist, and they were just like, "Yeah, all right, we're done."
I can't remember why they shut down in the end. I imagine it was something like that. But the problem is because it was all hosted on Easyboard or whatever else they use, like we did. If a stop synthesis went to Easyboard, and that's it. They're not going to ask questions or do anything. They're just going to shut
Yeah.
the guys. I think that's what happened because I had the forums on Easyboard and I got shut down by them. And Easyboard wouldn't tell me why they shut me down. But that's when again, great community. They kind of stepped in and built these PHP forums and all this stuff. And it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just how the hell did you do that? Because they went from just doing the forums and I was saying, well, at the moment we're kind of got to test all these bugs and I'm like, this is literally a folder of when I was manually doing it. So these are all printouts of all these bugs people have sent in and my notes on them as to whether they're any good or not, whether it's okay or worth it.
Wow. Yeah.
I was just sort of hammering away trying to test all these bugs with throwaway accounts I was picking up from a game in Manchester from the shop. As soon as I got banned, I'd have to go and get another one. But they said, well, we could potentially automate it to an extent. So they did built a forum within the forum and kind of built into the website so that we had volunteers, the people who kind of trusted that would come in and we'd as people submitted a bug, it would come in and automatically get posted up into a section of the website. And then there'd be options next to that, which will say things like it's either working, and it's an old bug, or it doesn't work, or whatever. And once they clicked on those things, it would send an automated email response out to the person that sent it, either giving them an access thing for the private section.
Yeah.
And they automated the whole thing. It was great. The only thing we couldn't automate was testing the bugs, but that was where the volunteers came in, and then they had this portal to go to themselves to where the bugs were listed. They have to be trusted because obviously,
yeah,
there's tons in there. And we had a bit of a to do with another site at one point where we were kind of all friends at the two different exploit sites, and then they started. I think they sent someone over who became a tester and started just filching bugs off us and nicking them, even though they were in our private section. We hadn't tested them yet. So
yeah, I can see that because it's like you want to have all the bugs. Yeah, I mean that's like inventory. That's gold. You know what I mean? Like so. Come over here. We have their bugs plus our bugs, and it's like, yeah. God, that's funny, man. Yeah, and that was a question I was going to ask is that, how many people were testing that? I mean, surely, I can't imagine, with 50, 60,000 people, members, and then you got assholes like me and Beltane.
Not many people. Yeah, not many people knew any working bugs that weren't already known. So, but we'd still get 15, 20 a day, and they add up if you're not testing.
Wow, yeah,
I'd have guessed 20 a day back at the peak.
You probably had some frequent flyers that are just submitting every single day, like random ones, and you're like, oh, there's Joe Blow with his daily bug, and it's like spin around, up, down, left, right, start V select, kind of stuff like that.
But the bugs that were private always rolled down into the public section. Eventually, they were on a timer.
Okay.
So it wasn't too exclusive. It kind of kept things coming and kept the interest and kept people sending new ones in. So.
What were some of the juiciest ones? I mean, I know that there wasn't a whole bunch of crazy ones. Yeah, dupes or anything. That's everybody always thinks instantly like exploits dupes because that's what I did every day. I would sit there and be like, how to dupe gold.
We'd all at some point managed to randomly dupe something. I had a sword that I ended up duping. I was like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
And it was just some server line crossing. Very different to do it in Outlands or something now because it doesn't have those distinct sort of server jumps where your character literally just stops for a minute, pop,
and you could see the server jumps, you could feel it, but then you could see them on like UO auto map or whatever, and especially on boats, like your character would stop here and your boat would go way up here, and all of a sudden you'd rubber band up. It's like okay.
And a lot of those dupes were based on the original ones were based on sort of disconnecting and screwing your character up or doing something at that instant you cross that line. And then when you log back in, whatever you had, you'd have another one off. That's the top and bottom of it. It's like whatever you had just before you did that you put away and then did it, you'd still have it, and so you get another 2 of them. That's where most of those dupes kind of came from. Just did various different ways of triggering them as OSI kind of plugged different holes up over the time of them happening. But the juicy ones were, and the really popular ones were, they weren't anything to do with PvP, because we didn't have many of those, and we weren't keen on those anyway, to be honest, because that's part of the fun part of the game. You just don't want someone running around one hitting everyone. It ruins it. I'm not saying we wouldn't publish one if we got one.
Sure. Yeah.
But, you know, the main focus that everyone was on was just reducing that grind.
Yeah.
It really was. If it was like I said, if they changed something one day and they came in the next, and instead of standing at the bone wall in deceit for the best part of a week, you could just realize that you're just boxing a blade spirit, stand next to it with your shield up, and it's like, well, hey, you know,
okay,
2 hours later, bingo,
that's a win right there, man. Yeah, you know, and it was, you know, and compared to Outlands, you know, you go to shelter, you hit 80 in an hour or less for whatever skill you're trying to go, and then another 2 hours your GM, unless it's a particular skill, and then it's overnight. You know what I mean? It's simple. But yeah, back then I can remember very vividly, you know, playing with 85 swords and like 72 tactics, or vice versa, you know, and like actually playing the game that way. And when some people would be like, yeah, I have 92 swords and 95 tactics, I'm like, wow, are you serious? You know, and it's like, they're not even GM, but that's how it was back then, you know, and you'd be like, well, you want to spar?
We had power hours and things like that where you could gain extra skill, and the rest of the time it was like, good luck, you know. So
but now people can't be bothered with that. It's like, no, just I don't. And it's funny because it's this happy medium, right? Like if a server was to say, like, you know, you can pick your skills and just instantly GM them, people would be like, no, I don't want that, you know. But then at the same time, like, you want it to go quick, but you don't want it to go too quick. It's this weird, like, I think it's I don't know.
You need the reward of, all right, I've gotten this far.
Yeah.
And it took a bit of effort. You know, now you get onto the next level. That's why I think Outlands works so well as well, because it's not just about getting your skills to that level. You've then got all the aspects and everything beyond that. And there's so many levels to it. It's that initial, I've got something to do 100 is not what it's all about anymore. And it's very clever.
Did you ever monetize Ash Chopper? I mean, did you guys make money from it? I mean, was it no?
It cost me a fortune.
Yeah, it cost you money. Yeah.
It was. I mean, the actual bandwidth that it destroyed early on was insane. This is like the early 2000s, and the ISP that was hosting it for me, as a favor because he hosted the company website, the commercial property thing I've got, he was like, yeah, I'll host that for you, no problem. And then all of his sort of other customers' websites were falling over because we were pulling gigabytes of bandwidth, which is basically unheard of for our website. Because we're also hosting all these other tools on it and various other things that people download, and
especially back then, right? Especially back then. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Now you have stuff like TikTok where it's just like video, and
that's it. But it was all text. It was all crap back then. And
wow.
But we transferred, and he said, look, I'm sorry, you just got to find someone else to do it. And that's when Bendover stepped in and hosted them. And unfortunately, he had to, when he moved on from what he was doing there and he couldn't host them anymore, I think the backup's gone missing at some point. Which, you know, it's, well, things come to an end. It's not the end of the world. We're still there on Wayback Machine. Still got the domain, but not there's nothing on it.
Sure. Yeah, I think it says like,
I don't want to put anything on it if we can put it back one day, brilliant, I'll put it back, but it'll just be a...
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you ever recreate it? I mean, here's the deal. Think about this, right? Here's my sales pitch to you. No, is that, like, so you got people like Jace Owens. He's got this website. It's UO Addicts. I don't know if you've looked at it, but it's really cool. It's basically like an interstate or a highway of all different UO servers to uoaddicts.com. It even has stuff like who streamed UO in the last 30 days, and it'll say like 100 and something people. It's really
It's
cool.
incredible
And
setup. Yeah,
and so
love
I
it.
think of that, and then I think of Ash Chopper, and I'm like, man, he could really, because the people are uploading scripts, and then you could have Ash Chopper bugs, and it's a private section,
You're trying to get me banned from Outlands.
Shoot, me talking like this, I'm gonna get banned.
No, it's no, those days are gone for me. I think really, like I say, I got a family. I'm in my 50s now, and I don't want to be responsible for someone quitting a game that's as good as the one we love to play.
Yeah. That's a good look, man. That's a good way to look at it. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying, before, of back in the teen, when I was playing this with Beltane when we were younger, and the wild west of the internet, right? I would just love to grief the shit out of people. But now, I mean, yeah, I steal from them and I PK them or whatever, but that's part of the game. I'm not sitting here, if they say, all right, I'm going to quit playing, going, haha, F you, you know what I mean? See you later, bucko. It's not like that anymore, It's, so I do think that, some like game breaking bugs or whatever, probably don't use them. You know what I mean?
I think the controversial things we've seen recently have been things like certain playstyles getting squished a bit.
Yeah.
But some of those playstyles are a bit full on. I mean, we're talking about someone hiding in someone's house for ages and just taking their everything they have.
Yeah, I was just talking to. Yeah, I mean that's it. There used to be players that would sit in a house. This happened to Golden Bear. This happened to Golden Bear. He had bought a house, and somebody had a room marked in his courtyard, and so they recalled in and they hid. And he loves to decorate houses, and so he had like released a bunch of stuff and put it on his body, right, or on his bag, and then suddenly this guy appears because he's hidden, and he kills him, and he looted like millions of like Christmas and Halloween from years past, and he like lost a shit ton of stuff. And sitting there, it's like, yeah, that's UO, but at the same time, it's like, man, like that sucks so bad.
Does it have to be UO? In a way, yeah, it does, because those people that play this game that have done that for years, they'll find another way to do something similar. And if they can't do that anymore, they'll find the next best thing to do.
And that's it. And it got to a point for the longest time where I would just reveal on my, like when I would recall in on my boathouse, I would instantly reveal every time.
As soon as you log in, reveal.
Because the same guy was on my right next to my shelf, and then he would gloat about it, and he would post pictures of all the shelves of people that he had stolen from. And it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like, I think that changes to things that happen to people that would legitimately make them quit outside of PKing and stealing.
We don't have millions of players anymore. We don't have hundreds of thousands of players. We've got a few thousand, which is great, online at any time, which is honestly is brilliant compared to how it's been for the last 20 years or so.
Yeah.
And I think we don't want to rock that boat too much. We want to keep the edge. We want to keep it.
Yeah.
Like, got to watch your back. And you can still scam people in game, but it's cheating when you start scamming them in Discord, legitimately, to then steal from them in game, and it's all weird crossover stuff. That's all weird.
Yeah.
But just general tomfoolery and that sort of thing that unfortunately ends with someone losing all their stuff. That's what UO is. But when it's like you say, someone's stuff from the last 4 years of playing, and because there's so more efficient ways to store things now. These storage devices, these massive shelves, these wardrobes, these and if one of those was unlocked and gone, then there'd be some very upset people.
I mean, that's it. That's what would happen. Like shelves, their entire resource thing, and
I mean, I know my site's caused a lot of people to be extremely upset in the past. I mean, one of the classic bugs was the when you're selling someone a house, back in the day, it wasn't a picture of a house in a thing. It just a deed that said house or whatever, or I can't remember what it actually said on it when you clicked. But if you're selling someone a pet, you get the same deed.
Yeah.
And so you rename the pet, put it off screen, and then you sell them that. So they give you however much gold, you just walk off or recall out of there, and drop it onto another account you've got. In the meantime, they're trying to call a GM because they've just realised they bought a dog.
They bought a dog for 500K or whatever, dude. Okay, so we on that same thing, me and Beltane, we had found one where there was two. Used to the trade window was solid black, right? So you take a black dye tub, you dye a bag black, and you'd figure out how many items the person is carrying, right? And like 125 is the max, right? So you start the bag with 80 single gold coins or something like that. We had a sweet spot that we kind of like knew a roundabout, you know what I mean? But then if it was too many, it would say like the recipient can't carry this. Too many items. So you take one gold coin out and you take one gold coin and you keep doing this, right? And then you put the trade in, it's a black bag and you accept it. Well, most people, if they get a trade of like nothing and it's just, previously, they're going to take it, right? And so they take it. And then you go up to them and you say, "Hey, Chopper." And they go, "Hey." And you go, "Man, this is when the artifacts were a thing, like Age of Shadows and beyond." You're like, "Hey, Chopper, that hat of the Magi, it looks really cool. Can you just put it in the trade window really quick? I just want to see it in the trade window." And they'd be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And so they'd put it in there. Now, not always. Sometimes they would be like, "No, fuck you," and they'd run away, right? but like most of the time, 9 times out of 10, they would put it up there. And so the thing is that like stuff in the trade window would go to the person's bag and their bag's full. So it defaults to the ground and suddenly we have a new artifact and we'd be like, "That's so cool." And we'd put it on our head and be like, "Thanks." And we'd just recall away and there we go. We got rid from that. The other thing is when we found out about how stuff went to the bag after, you put it in the trade window, we would guild people and, then we would PK them because they're in our guild and they'd be like, "Man, like that sucks. That was all my stuff." And we'd be like, "Hold on. That's all your things?" They'd be like, "Yeah." And be like, "All right, we're going to play a game. It's called Trust." Like, "What's this game?" "Well, come on." And we'd go to the bank. And they're still gilded, by the way. We'd go to the bank and we'd be like, "Show us everything in your bank." And they'd put a few things up. And we'd be like, "No, come on, there's more. There's more." And I'm telling you, every time they had a lot of stuff. They had a lot more. And they'd put it up there and it's in the trade window. And there's 2 of us. So we would kill them. And like I just said, it goes back to their bag. And that's how we robbed people's banks all the time. Those were our bread and butter. And
I don't think I've ever met an actual your bank robber. That's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, again, I wouldn't do that today. But back then, man, I loved it. And yeah, it was
There were wild times. There were. Anything went because most people are at a similar age level as well. So it was, it's, I mean, particularly vicious. If I start picking on teenagers trying to play a game, it's like, "No, sorry."
Yeah, that's just what it was. So we did like, I feel like we got that from Ash Chopper. Both those things, especially the gold one. I know we got the gold one from there, the item thing, which is very funny.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So did you went from retail to Outlands, or you did say you started playing again because of Mustache?
Yeah, I stopped retail. Didn't go to any free shards. We actually had an Ask Chopper free shard.
Really?
Briefly.
Yeah.
Luth and various others kind of ran that, and Jokester and what have you. I logged onto it a few times, but again, I was so busy trying to sort bugs out and work and life, and at the same time, when I was trying to play, I was trying to do the guards think,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was enjoying that. So I didn't play on that very much, to be honest, but it was that was supposedly went down very well. But apart from logging in and saying hello to everyone, I didn't really do much on that.
Yeah.
The and after that, I just kind of stopped. I moved on. To play World War II Online.
Mm.
After that, which was it's tanks, everything, half scale map of Europe. People were actually driving tanks from one town to another
Yeah.
on a half scale map. So it took them hours and hours to drop tanks on to resupply front lines and stuff like that. It was a
Yeah.
proper full on game, which was great when it was really well populated. It's
Yeah.
still actually going now. Recommend anyone just to jump on and give it a play, because there's probably some free version you could jump onto and just have a go on it. And it's brilliant. It's similar to UO in the way that one shot, one kill. If you shot, you're dead. It's not these like blurry noise and everything.
Yeah.
And it's proper bullet drop physics. It's the tanks, the planes, all Spitfires, all cracking stuff. I've not played it in years, but I still get the newsletters. I still know it's still going. So I just totally went off from that, and I played Counter-Strike as well, and eventually DayZ, various other bits. But that was DayZ before it became the Steam version that came out, or whatever it was. It was the beta version, and same with Counter-Strike. I didn't really play the new Counter-Strike very much. It was the Half-Life. You had to screw around with it and add mods and do all sorts. And...
Okay, so Counter-Strike was originally Half-Life. Is that
okay?
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, because nowadays when people talk about Counter-Strike, I like look at Counter-Strike. I'll see some video or somebody will send me something, and I'm like, this isn't Half-Life. And because to me, Half-Life Counter-Strike is, I remember Half-Life. All those old FPS games like that, Unreal, Duke Nukem, Doom,
Quake,
yeah. Man,
proper stuff. You can even get them if you had a couple of. I think one of my friends came around. Wasn't really into PC gaming or anything, and I joined two computers together and put. I think
IPX cables, the IPX cables, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just joined. It blew his mind because again, playing against another person, is a totally different game.
Yeah,
it's it was rocket jumping in no time. He was loving it. So.
I was talking about playing with my dad and stuff, and we would play Warcraft, we'd play Doom, all that. That asshole never let me win. He went full throttle on me, beat me every time. And he would get on and he'd play with his friends and he'd learn like new strategies. And I'll never forget when he learned how to. There was a game, Command and Conquer. Did you ever play Command and Conquer?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
He learned how to put engineers in a dropship. And he would come, he would just race to get engineers in a dropship, and he'd come straight to my base and take it all over. And I'm like in my room and he's in his room, and I would go in there just crying. I mean, like crying, like that's not fair. I would get so mad and be like, boot it up, we're playing again. He would do the same thing. And maybe he was just like trying to teach me
sounds like a UO player.
Yeah, it was good.
A certain breed, I think. So.
Yeah, but
I've got him on survival. I don't want him starting on creative because it's all do what you want and you instantly get everything. You've got to earn that stuff and be worried about losing it.
Yeah. I caught on quick. Not really, but I caught on eventually. But so Outlands. I mean, have you? Are you still actively playing? Are you? I mean, like,
I don't have much time on my hands, so I'm still crafting stuff.
Yep.
I'm still. It's also from doing my laptop at the moment because I've got PC issues and busy at work. And
I mean, I see Ash Chopper there by the blacksmith and shelter irregularly. He's there sometimes sitting there. And the order of armor is closed, and so.
Yeah, he still hangs around there. He likes it there. That's where he tends to make his trades and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've started focusing more time on myself recently as well, personally. So, like I said, I've got your girlfriend now. There's wonderful. So I'm spending a bit more time doing that sort of thing and adventuring and getting experiences and enjoying time with my kids and doing all that. And at some point, maybe I'll be able to get in and actually do the actual proper game itself and go and enjoy I do dabble in dungeons and stuff, but I've never really got very high in my aspects, apart from Artisan, obviously, which is monstered. But that's been tweaked and changed, which is fair enough because it's one of the main aspects you can get really far on with without actually doing any combat.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't give anyone some amazing boost in combat when they've never actually fought. I get that.
Yeah.
But it still has some. Yeah, it's still a pretty decent aspect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Artisan was great. Now it was fun because originally Artisan you still had to do combat, right?
Yeah.
And so I can remember I ended up maining my blacksmith miner. It was a blacksmith miner with mace fighting, and I had like tier 8 artisan at the time, and now it's max or whatever. But it was just really cool because
you had really good artisan archers back then as well, couldn't you? I read.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's the thing.
But like people were, they would seek out people that had high artisan back then because it was so rare, and I felt like a badass. And I was stocking people's shelves. They'd be like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna give you some ingots. Will you make as many as you can?" And it was people would have a list of people with high artisan, and I was on there, and I just felt so cool because of that. And now it's a little different because of the combat and stuff, and that's fine. Games evolve, etc. But it was really cool. And you were in SOF, right? Are you?
I'm at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I kind of went there because Moustache went there after that guild sort of ended, and then and Crab's there and various others, and So I'm just kind of chill out there. I still look at the Discord and stuff. I'm not very active on it. I don't jump in and join all the fights and that sort of thing. But it's but if people want stuff making and they ask me, I'll still do it. Votes, whatever they want. But yeah,
it's a good group of people, man. I got to hang out with Funeral. Funeral came to it's like 3rd or 4th meetup. I don't know. We're coming up on 6 in New Orleans. If you find yourself in the United States in April next year, New Orleans,
I'd love an excuse to go.
Yeah. In fact, we were in Vegas last year. It was great.
He's got family over there, so hopefully it's near where they are. So I'll find out. So.
Come on. But I met with Funeral up in Philadelphia actually, and it was so cool because it was right after Sin and SOF like broke the alliance, like a week or 2 later. And I was wearing my Sin shirt, and he had his SOF necklace, and like we're just hugging each other, and we took a picture and we both posted it in the Discords, and it was just really cool. But Funeral is a very cool guy, man. And then that next year I got to judge every year they do like a 4th of July steak cook-off or whatever, and they sent me videos and pictures, and I was like, well, I like this one because and it was really cool. And yeah, I think SOF is a very cool guild, and the people over there, you guys are you got some good people. Mithralis is over there,
it's a very, very solid group, and it's there's not much drama as well, which is nice. I mean, there's always drama as you go, and there's guilds and there's stuff, there's always something going on, but it's not to the point where you think it's all going to break, which is nice.
Which oh man,
it's a lot of that over here.
Yeah. If you so the next like actually one more question before I get to the last like 3 that I ask everybody. When you first came here to Outlands,
right? Okay.
when you first came here to Outlands, did Owen and like Luthieus or anybody, when they found out who you were, did they like reach out, or did they stalk you, or was it like, hey man, are you gonna find exploits or anything like that? Or
no, they were really nice. I can't remember if I got in touch with Owen first or if Owen did with me. It might have just been checking in and going, hang on, is it you? What are you up to? I can't, but it wasn't sinister or anything. It was just I think happy it was actually me. And I don't even, I can't remember what we spoke about, but it's because of, it's just the links with the old UO. I think it's just lovely. And everyone's got memories of it, and everyone's got those things, but as much as they might want to shout about it, I suppose you don't want to embrace exploiting
Yeah.
in too great a way, which I get. But we've all grown up now. Well, most of us have. Some of us have. We're talking about UO, aren't we? All right, not many. Um, yeah,
It
most of
depends
us
on the
still.
day. If it's Saturday, I
Yeah,
haven't grown up, man.
most of us still get.
Yeah.
Oh, he's died. Oh, there's no one around.
Yeah.
We've got his dog.
Exactly. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've really been embracing the whole like this is a PvP game, and I use that to my advantage, and I've been pretty public about it, and it is funny because this day and age, most games are PVM and you opt for PvP, right?
Yeah.
And so people will call stealing or PKing griefing. And that's not griefing. Like griefing is I'm following you around, I'm calling you names, and like anytime I find out that you're online, I'm right where you're at. Like or
Yeah.
something to that degree. That's
I'll
griefing.
stand there and keep killing you as you keep respawning, or I'll just make it so miserably. Just think I'm just coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And but PKing and thieving is not griefing at all.
No,
and I've been very vocal about that to the point of like, I talk about where in holiday lanterns they have these like holiday drops, right? And during that I'll have a spot that's my own, and if somebody comes up to it, I do my best to get them killed. If I can't get them killed, I'll kill them. Like if I can't get the monsters to kill them, I will kill them. And sometimes I get bullied out of that spot, and that's fine. That's part of the game. And and I'm very vocal about this and how that, and it's been this way. Yeah, cheers. It's been this way where if I don't have 4 murder counts, then I'm doing something wrong. Like I should always have 4 murder count or be red. And lately it's been be red. But and my whole point in saying all this is that there are people that are like upset about this, and they're like, "Oh, this is terrible gameplay," and this is a PvP game. No, it's not a PvP game, and yes, it is. It's just I don't know. It's this age-old argument that
you see people together. One of the reasons that we used to run around with half-assed templates back in the day is not just because we couldn't get them that way. Sometimes it's because we needed to keep other skills at hand. So you got a ton of glass cannons running around dungeons these days. They're great for the PVM.
Yep.
But as soon as someone turns up with a sword, they're screwed. And we had to kind of balance that back in the day. There was no there's no caught heal or anything. It was just you died, that was it.
And everybody's argument to that is, but my gold per hour will go down. And it's like, yes, it will. And they're like, that's not fair.
Gold and per hour you can get while surviving as long as you can.
Yes.
So that's what will then extend it.
And look, I don't knock anybody's game style, right? Whatever somebody chooses to play or how they choose to play, that's totally up to them. But the second you start saying that like it's unfair because I can't kill monsters at maximum efficiency while still fighting off 2 to 3 red PKs, like come on, dude. Like farm in a group, change your skills, or at the very least, here's the big kicker. I'm about to go on a soapbox. I'm going to slow myself down on it, but either way, like the biggest thing I'm like big on right now is that people say Dexers suck in PvP, and mages are most efficient in group PvP, but a Dexer, when played right and understanding that a mage has 111 mana and that we all run at the same speed, and you have to stop to cast a spell, and you off screen and you use mana to get them out and then come back, like dwindle their mana down. It's not just run in and start blowing everything you got, taking a dump to the face. There's a little bit more behind it. And here's the thing. You start saying those things and people will be all up in the comments or all up in your chat or all up in the Discord saying that like that's BS and it's unfair, but they won't ever attempt to learn what that person is talking, like learn that skill, learn that strategy. They will just bash the PvP completely. Is it perfect? No. And any game that is perfect and balanced is a bad game. And the reason I say that is because then you have absolutely no choice. It's all just like it doesn't matter what you do. You know what I mean? Like the beauty of MMORPGs and the beauty of multiplayer games and things like this where you have choices is that right there. That there's consequences to your choices. And somewhere along the way, and I think it was when World of Warcraft started balancing stuff based off of because they just wanted to continue to like please the masses and stuff instead of create engaging gameplay, is that everything had to become balanced. And now, and I don't know if you've ever played World of Warcraft, but you have hunters that can res people. And it's like, how can a hunter res somebody? Oh, well, they have a pet that does it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. You know, like it's, and then, you know, used to only druids could battle res. Well, now you have like 5 classes that can battle res. And it was all because people got upset with balancing. And it just, I'm not saying that things need to be unbalanced, like extremes, you know, try to keep it somewhat there and change it around a little bit. But, you know, that unbalancing, the last guy on this podcast, his name is Ansem, and he mains a Dexter in PvP, and he demolishes people. Like he will do 2v1, 3v1 against mages and just beat them. And it's just because he knows how to position himself. Does he win every fight? No, but nobody does. And it's just it's really cool, man, because it's it just that's my soapbox. Sorry, I get obviously worked up over it.
You're dead right, and it's people don't want to find out they're wrong on that sort of thing as well, because it's you know, they like to think that things are set a certain way, and there are disadvantages in certain ways because it's not the whole get good thing. It's more of a, you know, if you need help, then get a few of your Dexers together, start yourself a channel, and go out and you know, prove it. And you know, it'd be great to see Dexers just on a YouTube channel just going out ruining people.
Yeah, I mean, that's Ansem Omega. That's Comp Commander.
Well, they'll probably nerf Dexter shortly afterwards. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
And I'm a Dexter at heart because I'm a blacksmith at heart. So it's like,
Sure.
I don't do the whole wavy hand stuff. That's not me. So
there you go.
It's all about again, it's from being a guard. I think from the roleplay thing. I never did the magic then. Don't really do it now. I love Dexter. It's great.
Dude, back to the role playing thing. I mean, I think it's cool because what you said is like you started out and you only had like newbie gear basically, and then you moved up to.
You turned up in civvies. It was just your clothes that you're spawned in, basically. You know, the regular shirt.
But you moved up to where you could carry plate mail.
My father sent me. I'm supposed to find a career. I'm supposed to get something going on. And, you know, you had to all this spiel and stuff. And
And then you got to where you could wear plate mail and you know, start thinking the orcs are the same way. Where like my character, he's a snotling.
Give me tasks to go that sounded like roleplay, but actually built the skills up you needed.
Yeah.
You know, it's genius. It's great.
Yeah.
And help them sort of gather wood, to fletch arrows, to do all this. You know, it just provide this whole ecosystem of everyone having fun. And because you have a couple of recruits going out moaning about the fact they're going to be chopping wood all bloody morning. You both moan about the same thing. You go back, you get grief because you're not getting your shirt on right or something. You know, it's it's good.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's just fun. It's fun. You know, the big guild on Atlantic was Long Live the Syndicate, LLTS, and that's still somewhere around. You know, it's still a thing. You know, there's people that, you know, one of their rules is they can't play on a server like Outlands, right? And there's people on Outlands that are like, well, I'm in that, and can't let anybody know that this is my character. It's funny, and they're over here playing and like being secret about it. But you know, the reason they do that is just because of, I think that the role play community it's so tight knit, man, and there's just so much more fun that you can have in there when you're not worried about chasing gold per hour. You know, I mean, and again, I'm not knocking anybody for what they're doing, but there comes a point, at least for me, where it becomes a chore and you're really just playing just to increase my experience as fast as possible. Whereas the times that I'm smiling the most and having the most time, most fun time, is when I'm screwing off or I'm playing pretend and role playing with the orcs. You know, it's like
Good
that.
hope so.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when I'm still in a rope and like Path is role playing with me and like saying, you know, oh, you're down here stealing, and it's like, no, not me, sir. And I was like, I was framed, and they role play back, who framed you? And then we go on this like scavenger hunt to figure out who framed me, and then I'm actually framing somebody else, and they attack them, and I mean, like that right there is what UO originally was, and you know, I can just list off a million stories of talking to people and like changing the dialogue of what's happening based off of the conversation in game that I think MMORPGs have somewhat lost today because it's all become about min-maxing experience and min-maxing templates. And like, dude, I do that at work every day, man. I min-max how, you know, like my job. I get home,
Yeah.
I want to have like fun and act like an asshole, you know, like.
And the great thing about UO, even originally UO Outlands, all the tools are there to do it with. You know, there's no instances. You can walk from one place to another. You walk into the guild's bar. You've got like the thing. You got stools to sit on. You can sit on a table and talk.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually drink the beer and start hiccuping and and all the rest of it. And it's all just there, ready for you to do what you want with it. And a lot of it's ignored. It's a shame.
Yeah.
When people really get themselves lost in that, it's so much fun. It really is.
There's a she hasn't streamed in so long, man, but her name is Lucy Rambles, and she used to do Tuesday night tavern nights. With it was hosted by Sir Guild, and you know they have a town called Hailstone, and like all the role playing guilds would go to this bar or this tavern, and they would just talk about their stories over the last week, and you know, and it's like they're talking about going down into New Sero and killing a drake, but you know it's role play and it's in a tavern, so it's, you know, they fought 12 orcs on their way there, and you know, and found a ruby that was shining brighter than any ruby they had ever found, and you know, just like all this, and then you know, suddenly an orc appears and the whole like tavern turns and looks like, what's an orc doing in here, you know, and it's like the orc has to suddenly convince them that he's just there to have a beer because he heard of tavern night, or you know, or he's there to pick a fight or something, you know, like it just it was a really cool thing that she used to stream every Tuesday night, and I don't think she's done it in like a year, 2 years. I don't know. Time's getting away from me. It's long. I've been doing this now for 6 years. It's, you know, stuff gets away from you, but it was really cool, man. I think there's a lot to be had there. I mean, obviously they weren't gaining experience or gold, but I don't remember stories of, oh, I gained so much experience per hour down in Nucero, 3 months ago. But I do remember seeing that on the stream, and you know what I mean, like hearing about that stuff, like that's
and it sticks in your mind forever. That's great. When you've been playing. I mean, I one of the there's a guy I used to play with in guards back in the day, and it was someone called Mikey FA, and I mentioned him in the Moustache one when I was interviewed for that. And since the Moustache one to now, he was running through Outlands, saw Ask Chopper, and he's like, "Excuse me," and it's him, and it's we bumped into each other again. So I've set him up in where I used to do my mining and little caravan I used to have, and he's kicked off in that, and he's having great fun. He's joined a guild now. He's getting settled, and he's loving Outlands. And again, he's a different stage of his life now. I think he was quite young back then, but yeah, he's more experienced fella now, and it was Chop It Up as well, a guy from Ask Chopper that used to be on the forums and stuff and help out a lot. It was great.
Yeah.
And he's he's come back and said hello, and yeah, it's been great seeing all these people. So I mean, when I was interviewed by Mustache, it was all about what was in the history.
Yeah.
And I wasn't playing Outlands at the time. I'm not. I think I'm actually. I think it came up in the interview, and I was like, yeah, different map. Don't know about that. It's all about nostalgia. It's all about scratching that itch.
Yeah.
It's not. It's the map design there is just fantastic. It's mind blowing when you go from that and jump back on the old. My God, it's the differences stark. So
my first message to Owen was like, hey man, I just wanted to say thank you. This is Ultima Online 2. Like, this is Ultima Online 2. And totally. I truly felt that way. And that was before I started making videos. Honestly, it was Trammy Surprise. Do you remember Trammy Surprise?
Yeah, totally.
Man. I watched his videos, and I just was like, this guy's making videos over UO. And my girlfriend at the time had bought me a video editing software because I said I started raid leading in World of Warcraft, and I wanted to like try to make videos to explain the boss and stuff. And she was like, okay. And she brought home a copy, and it collected dust. It sat on the edge of my desk, and it collected dust forever, and then
that seems like work.
Yeah. And then suddenly, after I watched some Trammy videos, I was like, people are making videos over UO. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start I'm just going to learn how to edit videos. And I just picked it up and started clicking around and made the first video. And it was terrible. It was like, I had no idea how to edit, but I gave it my best shot. Right. But it just, it was because of not just Trammy, although that's largely who I give credit to about that. But like, definitely Outlands has kept me inspired to continue making content. In the past, I used to be like, well, I'm gonna grow and branch out into other games and things like that, and I'd make like one or two other videos and stream like a week or a month or something of that game. And I didn't have any creative inspiration. I was starting to make videos because I felt like I had to. Whereas here, I've always been like, like I don't have a short list of ideas. I have a long list of ideas, and they just keep going. And I actually enjoy making the content versus feel like I have to make the content. And
that's what it should be.
Yeah, and that's Outlands. Like it's a great server. That you can tell the passion they have in it, and it goes down into the players. And I always tell people, even though I did bash retail a little bit at the beginning of the podcast, but of this episode, but either way, I tell people like, we don't want to bash any form of UO because all UO is good UO, and it really is. If you're playing on sagas, you're playing on retail, you're playing on whatever. At the end of the day, man, as long as people are having fun, it's increasing the player count for Ultima Online. And
we all have the same reaction when we see that UO logo.
Yeah, when we hear Stones, when we hear that song, it's all like, and that it's like so important that we all protect it, and because it's not. I mean, hopefully it's around for as long as it can be, but like reality is, it's a ticking time bomb. You know what I mean? Like, but it is increasing in player count currently. But for how long? You know what I mean? I'm
hoping by the time I'm in my 90s and in a care home, I've got my VR UO Outlands sort of stuff going on. So.
Yeah. I mean, do people play it with controllers? There's a guy. His name is.
Yes.
There's a guy that.
Was it Steam Deck that did it on or something? It was a.
There's a Steam Deck people can do it on, but there's somebody that was streaming just Saturday night. Man, I wish I could remember who it was. I feel terrible right now. But anyways, he's got his controller, and he's got the whole like, you can put on your screen. Streamers will put like the buttons that they're hitting. Yeah. He's got it's an Xbox controller, and he's sitting here. He's playing a trapper mage. And he's like throwing a trap down, and then he runs away and he flame strikes it a couple times. And it's like he's using his Xbox controller to do all of this, and I'm just like,
muscle memory is what you're used to, isn't it?
yeah, you know, but
WASD and mouse for us, and it's like
yeah,
for different
it's
generations, different stuff. That's incredible.
it
That's
is
great.
it is. But
I
yeah,
remember it was in the forum. It wasn't the forums. I was talking about it in Discord, and some guy was saying that he plays with a controller as a Dexter, and he often screws up mages because whereas most people do the mouse sweep to move back and two, as soon as he goes left right, he just poof, he literally just changes direction like that, and it's like, and he finds that a really helpful way of getting into sort of just tripping the mages up. So
so
I was like, wow, I haven't even thought about playing you with a controller. It's wild.
it is wild, man. It is wild. But you know, like switching stuff around like that, it's very confusing. What I'm struggling with right now is I'm getting very involved in the arena community, and it's so in depth. It is so in depth. Like, you know, I've been going to his name is Blaine, and he does this PvP school every Monday night. And dude, he's like got it down to a science of like, all right, at 1.2 seconds you need to drop your lightning, not at 1.5, because if you do it at 1.5, it's like to that. And I'm like, how do I fraction 1.2 to 1.5? And he does that, right? It like he has got it down. And
tick, it's not just tick,
right.
Tick
And it's like, and what it does is it reduces, you know, the faster casting recovery, and it makes it seem like he can cast faster if he holds it for a second and then drops it. I'm saying it wrong right now because yeah, we're talking and stuff, but he's got it down to a science, and it's wild, man. But my whole point in saying all that is that I've used hotkeys. I've used Alt 1, Alt 2, Alt 3, Alt 4, Alt 5, etc. Stuff like that for years because of EverQuest. You would have to hit Alt 1 to cast a spell, Alt 2. And so that to me is just how you cast spells. And so now I've had to take away all those Alt keys, and I had to move them instead of on the one pad, because it, you know, to move my hand from here to here, that's like half a millisecond, you know, and that matters. And so now it's like QWE, ASD, ZXCV, FR, you know, stuff like all in that area.
It's a nightmare. I've had the same keys for so many different things.
And so
this game. My God.
The last 2 weeks of me like PKing and stealing, I am just getting my ass kicked because I don't know where my hotkeys are. And I'm like, I meant to steal that. It was a perfect steal. And I'm still hitting F2 for steal last target when it's actually mouse wheel down. And dude, I go into the arena and it's like I'm vastly improving really quickly, and I'm having a blast, man. It's just neat because it's so involved. And I won my first match, not tournament, my first match last Saturday, and I was just so excited. Like in a tournament, I won my first match in a tournament, got arena points, and I was just like, yeah. It was like,
you're right. Well done. That's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, cool. And it was just really cool, man. And you know, it's just stuff like that. It's funny to have that much excitement over a game that we've all been playing for almost 30 years now, man. And then meanwhile I go and I keep going back to World of Warcraft, and I'm like, I love that game, but when I finish a Mythic 15 or whatever, it's like, cool, we did it. It's not like jump up and go, yeah, you know, it's not as like exciting for me as UO is. And I think it's just something about this game, man. I don't know what it is. Is it nostalgia? Part of it, yes. And anybody that says that some of it is not, is, you know, yes, there are people that have started playing it in recent years and they can't say that. Yeah, it is really cool. Used to, it was.
I'm amazed people come into it and still do it.
Yeah, yeah. It used to, it was like unheard of, and you'd hear that and you'd be like, dude, are you like, are you a little weird? Like, are you okay? Like, but now it's a much more common thing, you know.
When
So
it first came out, the fact it was such a crazy learning curve was
yeah,
just part of the attraction. You know, it was because most games were pretty bloody basic back then,
hmm
and the fact there were so many different things you could do with your but now it's just like, you know, someone comes in from an Xbox game or something to this, they're just like, where do I even bloody start?
yeah,
What does
yeah,
it guide me through exactly what I need to do
yeah.
to do this? You know, it's like, it's just, no, good luck,
Well,
fella.
well, they did just put in like probably 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. I don't know. I suck at time, but anyways, they put in like these new player quests that.
Yeah, there's a new play dungeon as well, isn't there? The
Yep.
sewers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, there's some this constant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even to the point where right in front of the society guy, there's a guy that says like, "Go do this, come back, and I'll teach you about aspects." And you unlock
Yeah.
like 2 or so. I don't remember how many aspects. And that is such a good thing because the number one churn in this game is the new player experience.
Yeah.
You know, Trank has done a lot of work on the UI, and you know, no longer is the window like this tiny little square up here, and then
No.
hopefully you know to drag that gym down to make it like bigger. It's like starts out at a decent size, and you know,
It's got
and
a fighting chance from the beginning.
yeah, like you kind of, you know, because used to it's like if you stumbled your way on this game, good luck.
Yeah.
Hopefully you got a friend that you live with that can show you how to play.
Yeah, otherwise you're screwed.
Yeah.
And we've all been at that point sometimes where you log on and your resolutions change or something, and your
Yeah.
screen's not even on the screen anymore, and you don't know how to actually get
Yeah.
your main screen back on the old client and stuff. It's
Yeah.
doing a different than you want, thankfully. But
Yeah.
I mean, just talking about the new client, you know, this whole thing of being able to zoom out so far and the FPS going up so much, it's stuff we take for granted now.
Yeah, we do.
But seriously, it's a different experience on the old one.
Yeah.
But this is so good. You know, it updates the game without.
Yeah,
But it's
I forgot with classic UO on Outlands, you know, like the speed, you know, the like you just said, the FPS, like you see your guy's knees go up and extend out and then come back down. But you know, used to it's like it was a trot. You know, it was like your feet are
yeah,
just kind of like doing that. And I can remember when I first came to Outlands, I played primarily on Steam, and because you know you could either do Steam, Razer, or the classic UO client. And I did Steam because there was the speed hack, and I'm not talking like speed hack to like make you run faster, but it changed the FPS, and it made your you know, you do what we just talked about, and that was game change. I can remember when I first downloaded that and I sent it to Beltane, and I was like, hey man, like look at this, and he's like, why is your game run so smooth? And I was like, exactly. It was just like crazy. I've completely forgot about that until you just brought that up, because it you watch other servers, and if they don't have it, and again, I'm not trying to bash one, but whatever, they don't have it, and you're just like, ugh. like,
yeah.
like, you know.
If you go back to YouTube as well and find some of the really early UO videos that were recorded, there's some really old ones out there. I think one was uploaded recently. It's only a couple of months ago, and it was some old footage from I think it was a DVD that came with a magazine or something, or a CD, I should say, that came with a magazine. Might have been a bloody disc actually, floppy disk. But it was footage of in game when it first came out, and
Yeah.
it's so janky. Honestly, it's just it yeah.
But we didn't know back then. You know what I mean? Like we were like,
It's
this is
amazing. Everything was new. It was open. It was
yeah,
wonderful. It was like it
yeah,
might take me a while to zigzag over there as a warp from here to there while I'm doing it, and
yeah.
wonder why he's running past me because he's got a T1 cable
That was
to his
it.
house. For some
So
reason. And it's like,
yeah, me and Beltane, he had like the world's shittiest modem you could have. Like, it didn't even have a Pentium processor. It was bad. And we, before I got my own computer, and you know, we had cable internet at my house, but at his house, and that's where I played. I didn't play at my house. I played at his house. And so
yeah,
like, um, when I did get my computer, he would be running on a horse, and I could be on not on a horse and be running circles around him. And he took my character Ninja, who had higher skills, and that's why he took it. And like everybody called him Ninja Turtle because he was just so slow. But somehow he won a PvP tournament as a Dexter, and he just, but it was just so, it was enclosed, you know what I mean? So like he couldn't really run away.
I imagine it's because we used to have what was the one where you could use a sledgehammer on a mage and all of a sudden the mana would be like halved or whatever it was. It was
The concussion blows with the
concussion.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, bring back concussion.
I agree.
It's like,
I do agree, man. And like maces would break armor, and
yeah, as long as you've got to use a big one to do it, you can't just get away with like hitting with a little bloody,
and that's what he would do. He would take the Warhammer and he would break their shield. And the second the shield broke, he would switch to the some mace, and then he would just start whacking them when they didn't have a shield to parry, and he would just beat. Dude, yeah, I don't know. It was cool, and we didn't know because it was funny because nowadays, like everybody knows everything, right? And you ask in Discord, and somebody who's crunched the numbers will tell you the ins and outs. But we thought, but we didn't know that if you kept using the skill anatomy on people, then it would increase the damage of your next hit. So he would spam anatomy on that person every hit, thinking that it would increase the damage because you're looking at their anatomy and
it's his lucky socks.
It
worked. It worked.
Like we swore it did.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, and it did it probably not, but to us it did. Somebody told us it did, and it's stuff like that. But so I always like to ask everybody if you could make a suggestion to Outlands, and they have to do it, right? What would it be?
Bring back concussion from a.
I guess we just said it, didn't we?
Blacksmith, yeah. I'd love to bring back for a bit and just see what happens. Doesn't have to stay.
Yeah.
Just introduce it. Let's have a play with it.
Yeah.
And it'll stop the Dexers moaning because they've got a much easier way of actually getting into the fray if they've not got the timings right and all the other stuff and all.
Yep.
It levels it to a decent extent. It worked in the day, I believe.
I would agree. I think that it would be pretty cool to what your point is there. Bring it back for a bit, like these like wild changes that change maybe PvP or change the game. Like just say like, hey, we're gonna do this for 1 month, and we're gonna see what the reaction is.
Play with it, try and break it, do what you want with it.
Yeah, especially in PvP, because
that's what it matters anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest complaint in PvP for people
like it. Maybe is,
yeah, like the biggest complaint in PvP or for PvP against PvPers is the fact that you're running out with less than 5,000 gold in a loadout. So, like, if you screw PvP up and you completely unbalance something, who cares? You didn't lose anything in that month of dying to the Dexter with concussion blow, Like, and at the end of the day, I'm thinking of how to combat that. If I'm a mage, I'm going to bait the concussion blow, wait for it to wear off, and then attack, Like, I think that this whole glass cannon meta or what people play these days is like they want to blow their load instantly in everything they do, and so they expect that like that to be it. But especially in UO, it's not always about just instantly killing. It's more about a little bit of strategy there, and so that's what I would do to combat that. So if they did bring back concussion blow, I'd be great with it. I think that's great. Yeah, I mean that'd be cool. Try it for a month, like you said.
And it's probably easier said than done. Changing the whole game mechanic for a month, but for someone who's not a coder, not a developer, all the rest of it, just do this for a month.
It is what you said earlier when
you lose loads of players, just give it a go for a month. It's I get it. There's consequences and all the rest of it, but
it is what you said, because I had Trank on here who does a lot with like the code in the actual client and stuff, and he had said that the biggest issue with all of this is that if you change maybe how much armor Valorant Shoulders gives you, then somehow for whatever reason, just because of the way spaghetti code and Ultima Online is, that it also somehow changes the amount of followers a horse costs.
Hey, we built a website on that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. The moment they brought a new update out, we were like, right, what have they done?
Yeah.
What might the consequences of this be?
That's it.
As we'd start trying to break stuff, that's what we did.
Yeah. So you have no idea. You may be changing this, but it completely changes everything else. And so you don't know where that goes. So it's like you change one thing, you have to test everything else because and so that's where
they do a great job of it, because we don't seem to see any game breaking. I think there's been instances in the past where there's a dupe and whatever else, they kind of reset stuff and did stuff, but long time ago.
They find everything so quick.
But they're so good, honestly. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up people's ass and stuff like that. As a development team, they're bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
The stuff we've been given, the quality of life differences between this and vanilla UO and the stuff we're used to, as a crafter, as a you name it. There's just so crafters especially. My God, the system they've got now for crafting.
Yeah. Have you seen Outlands Butler?
It's so good.
Have you seen OutlandButler.com?
Yeah.
That one's the same thing. It's, I mean, I get it. That's not Outlands. That's another person. But again, it goes back to kind of like, Ask Chopper. You said you had volunteers, people that came and helped out. It's the same with my channel. I mean, people constantly reach out and say, "Let me help with this. Let me try to do." I think that the UO community as a whole, they all are just wanting to do their part to keep UO going forever, and they just want to help out. But
we need victims of grief and to steal from and to kill.
Exactly. That's it. And it's so funny because it's like it is that. It's like
the dark side and the light side to UO players, I think.
Yeah, it's like
I think most of us have got both.
So, I'm going to PK you, but then I'm going to teach you how not to get PK'd next time. But I don't want to steal your house. That's a no-no now. It's 2025. It's 2025. Yeah. We moved on. We're progressive. What are there?
Back then as well, you got to bear in mind it's not the same now.
Yeah.
But houses had a monetary value.
Yeah.
So one of the concerns we had was, as a website that's promoting this stuff, was if we were people could potentially prove a loss and take you to court.
See that? I could see that.
If someone had a castles were selling for
a
hell of a lot of money on eBay before eBay stopped selling digital stuff.
My dad sold a singing crystal ball. It was a simple crystal ball that every time you walk by it, it would say a random sound from a game. It would make a random sound from it. So maybe it was a lich, maybe it was a person dying, an ogre, whatever. Or your bank opening, it just was a random sound. Well, he sold it on eBay for $250.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Just a little crystal ball. And
but the fact that still exists and it's searchable, if someone then got stolen off them because of a bug that we done, then it's very hard to prove. You can only really sue someone if you can prove a loss, especially in England. I think it's different in America. You can sue someone because they upset you, but it's you have to prove some sort of monetary physical loss of something for them to actually take you to court for it.
So you have to prove something before you sue, and then you prove it again. Is that kind of how?
You're only going to take them to court if you know you're going to be able to prove that you've had a financial loss when you get there.
Okay.
Otherwise, what you take to court for?
Yeah. No. In the US,
that's why we don't sue billions of people over here. Whereas in the US, it's like, I'm annoyed at you, I'm going to sue you.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, hey, the lawyers don't care. They're getting paid no matter what. Yeah. The judges are getting paid. There's court fees, all that. I mean, there's a lot of money in stupid suing. I mean, people, dude, it's just like that. It's exactly what you said. I don't like you. I'm going to sue you because I'm in America.
Really
and you may not win, but you can. Yeah. That's great. What are there any other games? I mean, we talked about like Minecraft and things like that, but are there any games that you're excited about up and coming?
I only got into it a bit ago, and being an elite player, I think I would have gotten into it a lot earlier. But No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Well, it's been out.
God, there's still releasing updates for this. You could have bought this donkeys ago for the original sort of list price on it, and are still bringing updates out constantly. This is like the Outlands thing. It's just constant new stuff for the
I'm hearing
same people
good
who have the game for
things.
ages.
I'm hearing
And it's
really
so
good things about it right now, man.
yeah,
It's like the latest updates are really good. It's really neat. It's this constant generative world, and
yeah.
it's just ever going. Like you'll never explore the entire thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
even got one of my friends who's normally playing FPSs all the time to jump in and do it, and it's
yeah
like he's just sucked into it for a while, and he's gone back to his FPSs now. But
yeah. You always go back to like your main thing. I mean,
you do,
listen.
you
As
do.
long as UO is alive and well, I'll always play some version of it. I'll play other games, but I will always play whatever UO.
Likewise.
But yeah, I mean yeah. FPSs, I like FPSs. I don't play
I'm not
them.
good at the Twitch now. Twitchy stuff, sort of not Twitch TV. I mean, like the
Yeah,
quick reaction stuff.
yeah,
I'm 52 for crying out loud. It's like those sharp reactions, the hand-eye coordination. It's not
yeah.
what it was. When you're a teenager and stuff, you're great at that sort of thing, and that's when the time is to be doing that stuff. But
That's why No Man's
oh
Sky
God,
is so good, because you're just exploring a beautiful world
yeah, you just
or
la
universe. Yeah,
la la, real.
yeah, yeah,
It's just listen to this crazy storyline about 17 or whatever is this number they keep banging on about, and it's like, yeah, it's just you just chill out, just enjoy it. So
yeah. I've
different
been
pace.
playing a lot of Claire Obscure. It's like this. It's an action RPG. Well, it's not action. Actually, it's turn-based, but it's a turn-based RPG that is what they call like a Souls-like, right? So it's very difficult. You have to time the hits to like either dodge or parry, and if you don't, some fights you can win, but a lot of fights you really can't. And they're all the characters are French, and they all have French accents, and it's dude,
Nobody's perfect.
yeah, it, it's just man, I don't know. It's such a good game though, because it's a very difficult turn-based game. A lot of I I grew up on JRPGs like Final Fantasy.
I love it.
Yeah, those were the games. Me and my grandma played them together all the time, and so any turn-based game I'm like all about 100%. And this adds. I don't know if you ever played Mario RPG, but like if you timed your hit right, it would like increase the damage or add an extra
Okay.
attack or whatever. And that was revolutionary for those games at the time. And for whatever reason, just not a lot of other games added this to it. Well, this does, but it's more like it's not just hitting for attack and increasing damage. It's also like parry and defense. It's a good game, single player game. It's not like multiplayer or anything. So that part
Yeah.
sucks. The internet has ruined me in the sense that if I'm not playing an online game, I feel disconnected, and it's not a good thing, because if I'm playing a single player game, I'll start rushing through it because I'm like, I'm not connected. It's
Yeah.
terrible, terrible thing that the internet's done to me. But anyways, it's a good game. If you find yourself looking for a single player game with a great story,
Thank you.
check it out. The next and last thing I like to ask, man, is who should be the next guest on the Pwncast?
Yeah, well, I'm not really plugged into the community to say who the current best player is. I mean, there's still these people that seem to get really high up the ranking tables, and I'd be fascinated to find out what makes them tick. I don't know if they have the time to come on and talk to you, because I think they might drop those couple of percentage points down they don't want to. You know what I mean about the actual gold farming ones that are right at the top.
Yeah.
That's some serious dedication and stuff. But I was wondering if you're going after any of the big guns like Garriott and that to come on, because I know Mustache managed it. So I was thinking he still loves talking about this sort of stuff. So
Yeah, so I've had a couple emails with Garriott, and I don't know where the ball gets dropped. I don't know, but so the first time I messaged him, he connected me with somebody that does his schedules for the Explorers Club, which is his another thing that he does. And he was like, "Yeah, let's set this up." and he said, "This is so and so. She does my schedules," and that person just never responded. And I sent a couple like follow-up emails of like, "Hey, here we are." Never got a response. So I sent him another email just to himself, just like 2 months ago, man. And I was like, "Hey, are you interested in doing an Ultima Online podcast still? Are you still interested?" And he goes, "Yeah, tell me more about it." And I said who I was, and then he just kind of didn't respond again. And the only thing I can think of is, and I could be way off here, but there was rumors probably a year or two ago that he was going to rebuy UO again, the title or what have you. And
yeah,
I don't know if that's still in talks or anything, but maybe he just decided that it didn't fit since I'm exclusively Outlands, but I don't know, man. I really don't know. But he just kind of just hasn't responded after he figured out who I was. Maybe he just doesn't like my channel. I don't know. But the funny thing is like when I made a video and Mustache actually said, "Hey, join Twitter and you should share it there." I said, "Okay." So I joined Twitter and I tagged him. He reshared it, and then for like a couple of years he commented on a lot of my stuff on Twitter. And so I don't know where the disconnect went, but yeah, that's yes, I've tried with Richard. I'm still actively trying. One day, I'm sure he's just busy. Who knows? But one day.
I'm sure he will. I mean, who's the guy that's just bringing one out now that was from the UO team? There's a new MMO he's working on now, isn't there? Oh God.
I think Raf Coster.
Yes.
Yep.
Spot on.
Yep. Yeah.
I imagine he's trying to get a bit of publicity going because he had a Kickstarter. It's all kicking off now. He's got that going. You might be able to get him in. And he'll do a plug and that sort of thing. And once you've told Garrett you've had Raf on, maybe he'll go from there.
But now maybe that I got to ask Chopper, he might be like, "Okay."
No one ever heard of me. That's what I mean. It's like, I remember Mustache said, "Have you heard of?" "Oh, he's been on the thing," and he's asked it. I said, No, never heard of him. It's like part of me's like, "Phew," another part of me's like, "Oh, no, really?" We're all so convinced we're getting hunted down and all the rest of it, and I don't know. It's
But no, that would be a good one for sure. I mean, Raph would be good. Star Long has been on Mustaches, and then also Zurek, who was on here, I don't remember how long ago, 10, 15 episodes ago, Zurek from the Urt Guild. He's got his own podcast now after we did ours, and his is he had Star Long, which is Lord Blackthorn on there. And I talked to him, I don't know, man, like a month or two ago, and he said he's got somebody else coming on soon. I would imagine it might be Raph or somebody, but it's funny, man. Podcasts have just really taken off. Dude, I love them, man. I like to listen to them. I like to have conversations with people. I mean, my job is having conversations with people, and so, but that's my favorite part of it, and so like getting on here and just talking to people and getting their take of UO and what they've done in UO or what their take is, and that's just so much fun to me, man. I love it because I love this game, right? And when you can talk to somebody who has a shared interest, dude, there's nothing better than that, man. Nothing better. Me and Beltane, like my favorite pastime is going over to his house, sitting on his patio, just having a couple drinks and just talking about the world, man. And it's like just having conversation is like the best thing, man. I don't know. It
is, and it branches off, goes in this directions. It's not structured. It's beautiful. It's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Words are cool.
Words are cool. Yeah. Powerful. Yeah.
Well, shoot, man. Is there anything else you want to say or anything like that?
I just like to say that I'm in awe of what you've done over the last 6, 7, 8 years. You've been at this, is it?
Yeah.
Trying to count.
6 years. Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's an honor for me to be on here with you because the amount of effort, time, effort, and just non-stop dedication you've had to, bear in mind I had a team helping me. by the end of it, and and there might have been tens of thousands of people. All it's not a thing. It's like that was just a forum. It's just the way they connected, and that's just what they logged on to. That you produce this content, you promote the game we love, and it's not just producing the content. It's like you do this, and then you have to go away for God knows how long and edit it. Then you have to go and do this, and you produce that, and you got to. Well, you're probably going to go and do a live stream after this. In fact, I think you said you already are. Aren't you?
Yeah. I'll be live in an hour.
Like,
yeah.
This wasn't me back in the day. This is the amount of time, dedication, effort you put into because you love it, and it's great, and that's the thing. If you're doing something you love, that's wonderful. That's brilliant. But don't let it ever be a chore.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone understands if you need to put less content out now and again, and don't. I think a lot of people on YouTube tend to get this. I've never done it, but I've watched it get the burnout thing where it all just comes too much. There's pressure to meet deadlines and constantly edit, and it must be really hard. It's not an easy thing. It looks easy at the end of it. We just sit back with a beer and watch it.
Yep. Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of time and effort goes into what you do, and you're promoting something we love. So, cheers to you, sir.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Very nice words. Thank you. I mean, that's it, dude. This was a game that I've played for. I mean, I've played for 30 years almost, and have great stories and have met tons of really cool people along the way. And I like to entertain. I like to joke around and have a good time. And for me, this is how I can entertain. I like to teach, so I can teach. And I just want, like you said earlier, you said you hope when you're 90 and in a retirement home that, you can pull up your laptop and play VR UO. I mean, it's the same thing for me, man. I always say, it's so funny because people will be like, well, what happens when a server comes around that's better than Outlands? It's like, that's awesome. Like, I hope a game's better than Outlands. Like, to want this, I mean, yes, if Outlands is the best that there ever is and ever was, cool, whatever. But like, I hope that something is better than Outlands, because for me, Outlands is the best version of UO that I've ever played. So why wouldn't I want something that's better than Outlands? And the way that we can achieve that is by realizing, like what we said at the beginning, any version of UO is good UO. And anybody creating content, whether it's myself, whether you decide to start making videos or whatever, anybody start streaming, like, support them. It's just, right now, that is the best form of advertisement for anything, is social media and content and stuff like that. And anyways, I just love UO. And the labor part, at least I enjoy it. I mean, there's tedious parts that I'm like, but I just enjoy UO, and I get creative inspiration from playing this game. And thanks. So thank you. Yeah. But anyways, man, holler at me when you log in sometime. Let's play a little bit. And I'll come hang out with SOF and say what's up to Funeral and Crab, Mustache if he's still around. I don't know. Bring the crew back.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, Chopper, thank you so much, man, for being a guest here. Like I said, episode 31. I appreciate you.
Pleasure on all mine. Seriously, you keep up the good work.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Love what you do.
Awesome. Pwnstarr Gaming out.